Hey, how's it going, folks? I hope you guys are having a blessed week. I'm gonna go back into making videos. Anyway, so we're gonna dive into a series and really just go through the book of James. If I could sum up the book of James in a nutshell, it's what really it means. James really expresses what it means to live out your faith. It ain't about a bumper sticker. It ain't about a T-shirt. It ain't about a Facebook status. It's about how we live our everyday life, how we be example and represent Christ in this world, in our community, in our cities, in our families, wherever we're at in the market, wherever we're at. How are we representing Christ? How are we living out our faith? So really, James really just takes us apart and says, "Hey, what does it mean to really live out your faith?" Um, so he unpacks James chapter 2. I'm not gonna go through the whole chapter, but this scripture really came out at me, and I'm gonna read it first, and then we're gonna really dive into it. James chapter 1, verse 2 through 4. It says this. New Living Translation. It says this. Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed, you'll be perfect and complete, needing nothing. Um, I remember I was working at Walmart at one part of my life, and for 7 months I was there. And I remember one incident where it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I ran into the lady who I knew that goes to a church in this community, and I already knew that she had cancer. Um, so right off the bat, I knew what she was going through and the trials that really was spinning probably in her head. So as I saw her in a distance, I came up there, and I think our first response, and my first response was automatic, was, "Hey, how you doing?" And she responded with a big smile from ear to ear. She said, "I'm good." With her hair not being there, and she's going through chemo and radiation and all the whole gamma of what cancer does. And she said, "You know what, Gavin, no matter what I go through, God is still there. God is still faithful. And it's still good because God is still in control." You know, and it really touched me as I departed from her. It really touched me because I see this lady who's really going through a lot and battling cancer, um, and yet she was joyful because she knew who her God was and what her God is capable of. And I think that's where we can find the comfort in it all, and the joy in it all, is that we know who God is. The key phrase for me in that scripture was how James addresses the believers. He says, "Dear brothers and sisters," he says, "I know what you're going through. I know the trials that you're going through. I know the pain that you're feeling. But be joyful." And I think, we look at that, we like, be joyful. How can I be joyful in the trials that I go through? We can be joyful because we know who God is. We can be joyful because we know how big our God is. We can be joyful because we know what our God can do and will always do. I mean, he expresses that it's an opportunity to be joyful because we know who our God is and what he's capable of doing. We serve a big and mighty God. Nothing is too big for my God to conquer. This is a place where you have no control, but all you can do is trust and lean on him. Because your faith is growing and fully dependent on him, you will need nothing but Jesus. In the end of the scripture it says, you will need nothing but Jesus, but Lord. That whenever trials come your way, whatever obstacles this world can bring us, you're going to say, "Hey, it's okay because I got Jesus. It's going to be all right because my God is bigger. It's going to be all right because all I need is Jesus." He is all you need. He is all you need and ever need. God will give you what you need, from strength to push through to endurance to run this race of life on this earth. Hold on to Jesus because he can do the impossible and conquer your trials in your life. Do not waver, for you know who your God is, so look straight at the hills, for my help truly comes from the Lord. I mean, I think, when we go through trials and maybe you're going through a trial, maybe you're watching this and you're like, man, how do I get through this? And I think you can be joyful because that through your trials, the comfort is that God is with you every step of the way. And he has never left you, he has never forsaken you, and he never have, and he never will. And that's where we can find our joy in, because we know that, hey, God is in control. God is bigger than this. And if God lives in me, then I can conquer this head on. That I can climb over this mountain. That I can cut right through this hill. That by faith, I can cease the cancer. By faith, I can cease the storm. By faith, whatever the enemy throws at me, it will never consume me, because I have the consuming fire of Christ living in me. The living God lives in me, and nothing in this earth is too hard, too big, too evil for him to conquer. Come on. God lives in you. Nothing can stop you. Nothing can conquer you, because God is with you, and he is bigger than it all is. All right, I hope this helps you, and as we dive into James chapter 2 next month, I believe that God's going to speak volumes, and I think your faith is going to get strengthened, and your faith is going to grow, and I believe that many people in your family, many people in your city, in your community will find Christ in it all, and you are the light, you are the beacon of hope for many. So share the love of Christ, be Jesus to people. All right, take care, God bless.